Clock is wrong. Yeah,
Oh, shit.
it's go time.
That one's wrong.
It's go time. Good evening. Welcome, everyone. It is August 12th. I hereby call the special meeting of the Howell Township Planning Commission to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Williams,
Present?
Spalding,
Present.
Newstead,
Here.
Bowl,
Present.
Francesco's,
Here.
Stanley,
Present.
Lolio.
Here.
All right, full house. Please join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey. A very short agenda tonight. Do we have a motion for approve or edits, suggested edits?
So moved. Support, Bull.
Move for Mr. Spalding, support for Mr. Bowl. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Next up is our public hearing for the Luke Bryan Farm Tour. We have a motion to open the public hearing.
Mr. Chair, can I ask you a quick question before?
course.
I'd just like to address the board and ask, I have tickets to the event on the agenda this evening, and I want to know your opinion if it is a conflict of interest in me voting on this issue.
If the venue were to change, would you still attend?
Yes, I would.
So you're not dependent upon it being at this location to go.
Right.
If you feel you can be unbiased.
Mr. Chair, I actually look at that as a plus. He has experience. He's actually attended some in the past, so I have no issue with that conflict.
No other involvement except going.
No other involvement except I have tickets to it.
Oh,
I-
I have a little bit of a problem.
That's why I asked. I want to.
No, because what that's implying is that it's could be here locally if you've already purchased tickets. But maybe I'm the only one that feels like that, but I do feel it's a little bit of a conflict. But
When did you purchase your tickets?
Months ago, when they first came out, I think it was the second
So
day.
prior to it being announced
Yes.
coming to Howell Township.
Correct.
I don't have an issue
I'd
with
say
it.
that's more of a coincidence than anything else. I mean, I don't foresee it coming to Howell Township.
okay,
Okay. I just wanted, sounds like everybody's okay. I mean, most people are okay.
The majority,
We'll keep it in mind.
Thank you.
of course. Okay, still need a motion for the public hearing. Should we open?
Motion to open the public hearing.
Thank you, sir. Motion-
Support.
Motion from Mr. Francesco, support from Mr. Newstead. All in favor?
Aye.
Our public hearing is open. Mr. Moore, can you fill us in on your review of the site plan? And, well, not a site plan, I'm sorry, the temporary land use, special land use permit request.
Yeah, so the applicant is proposing a one-day-long music event.
Can you speak up a little bit, because I'm older, I can't hear.
With 4 opening acts, followed by the headlining performance by Luke Bryan. The event will include associated retail and promotional activities. The event is proposed for Saturday, September 20th, with the operational hours being from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. The week leading up to the event, vendors will begin delivering rentals and site preparations. The applicant has noted that they have been in contact with Chloride Solutions to assist with dust mitigation through the treatment of surrounding roads prior to the event. We would ask the applicant to note which roads specifically will be treated. Sound is not expected to exceed 70 decibels at any location outside of the subject parcel. Proposed waste management exceeds the requirements that are listed in ordinance number 6. The concert area will be enclosed by a panel chain link fence with 25 gates allowing for ingress and egress, which is sufficient for emergency access. The applicant has been working with Livingston County EMS, the Howell Fire Department, and the University of Michigan Medical Center to provide a detailed emergency and safety plans. The applicant has provided a detailed list of medical services, law enforcement, and security personnel who will be in attendance. Also, we want to note that as written in ordinance number 6, it's a requirement that the applicant provide access to 20 public phones in addition to 2 exclusive phones for use by emergency personnel. However, we believe that this requirement is a bit outdated and that the intent would be better met if the applicant is able to demonstrate adequate cell service for the area. Adequate parking has been provided and lighting is proposed throughout the parking areas. At the time of the submission, the event insurance was still in the process of being submitted, so the applicant should address this while discussing the event. And the Planning Commission will need to evaluate the temporary use criteria prior to action on the proposed use. And in addition to that, the Commission should make a motion to recommend approval or denial of the special land use to the Township Board.
Very good. Do you have any questions or feedback for Grayson? Okay, very well then. Do we have the applicant here?
Yes, sir.
Please tell us about your event, sir.
Sure, my name is Dennis Freeman. I've been hired by Row Crop LLC, which is Luke's management company. And I've been producing the event since the second year of it beginning, so 2009, through a handful of shows we did earlier this spring. So we've done about 40 of these over the last 14 years. He's kind of wrapped up some of the information real quickly. We have a small team that arrives the day prior and does some setup. And then on show day, the majority of us arrive around 7 a.m. and begin our build, which involves the fencing, our stage, setting up our parking areas, etc. And then we open parking at 2 o'clock. The concert area opens at 5. Music begins pretty quickly after that. The gates are open. We have 3 opening acts, and we have a DJ that plays in between. And then Luke goes on about 9:30, and we're done at 11. We have contracted with Livingston County Sheriff's Office to provide not only security within the property, but also traffic control, and Howell Fire, and then Livingston County EMS and University of Michigan for our medical services. We build out, because the inclusion of University of Michigan is so that we have actual doctor and nurses on site. We built out a full field hospital, which just basically cuts down on a lot of transports. Obviously, if something is drastic, we still will transport. We have three ambulances that'll be on site the entire time. But having that field hospital really reduces the number. We've started that about 4 or 5 years ago. And it's just very helpful. Once those ambulances leave, it's tricky to get them back, especially depending on where the local hospitals are. In addition to the sheriff's office, we also have about 110 private security officers that work the show. These are similar to folks that would be working a normal concert at the amphitheater or any quote unquote normal venue. We also travel with 36 parking team and these guys have been with us again for I think 12 years now. So once the sheriff's officers direct the cars onto the farm field, then my parking team takes over there at that point, and gets them into spaces, gets their money, or takes their parking tickets, whichever they have. We have 22 security managers that travel with us. So these guys are very familiar with our processes, and they oversee the local security that isn't as familiar with our specific show. They handle our front gate, they handle all of our backstage gates, and all of our supervisors come with that team that travels with us. So our backstage supervisor, our front gate supervisor, VIP supervisor, et cetera. We anticipate a maximum crowd of 20,000. We don't sell over that. We've had a number of shows at that level over the years, and all of the systems that we have in place are based on that number and being able to handle that crowd, including like our food vendors and all of that. Portable toilets, all of those are based on that number of 20,000. The parking areas, we use about, the property itself is about 100 acres. About 30 of that is the concert area itself, and then 70 acres is parking. And we have light towers that we place throughout that parking area to make sure it's well lit. On those light towers, we place a number, it's a 22 by 36 sign. We put fairly close to the top of those light towers. They are a reflective material, so the lights shining off them will, make them show up even in the dark. Those numbers have two benefits. One is the fact that people can find their cars after the show. Oh, I parked near number 2 or whatever. But also for safety reasons. If there's an issue in the parking lot, it's very easy for whoever's at that issue. Hey, I'm at light tower number 37. I need EMS or I need security. We have 4 emergency gates at our site, and again, they have that reflective material. They're all marked. All those are marked with a sign with that same reflective material. And those signs are indicated similar to how you would look at a fire, how the fire department works. So the front of a house in a fire or building is alpha, and then they work their way around. So we did the same thing as far as our those signs on the gates. So the gate to the clockwise left of the front gate is gate AB, because it's in between sides, AB, and it just works its way around. We have 14 ticket takers, as well as 14 bag checkers. So as people come up to the gates, we check all of their bags. We make sure they're not bringing in any of our prohibited items, which is a fairly lengthy list. Once that check is done, then the next step is for their tickets to be scanned, and then they're allowed in. That's kind of just the big picture stuff. Is now the right time for me to address the things that we're still missing, or is that later?
Absolutely.
Sure. The 3, I believe, one is cell service, one is the surety bond, and one is the insurance. We've reached out to all 3 major cell service carriers. T-Mobile did not respond to any of my emails. AT&T we worked with for a bit, and then they determined they did not have the equipment available to bring in a cell tower for our event. We've been working with Verizon and continue to work with them. However, their cell tower requires fiber. We have determined that Surf Internet has fiber right across the street from our venue. However, they do not normally provide fiber on a temporary basis. Their plan is to put it in your house forever. I've been working back and forth with them. I actually spoke with my rep late this afternoon. To be perfectly honest, it's not looking great. He is trying to get with the CEO and sell him on our event, but at the moment, it's not looking too good. The 2 notes I'll make on that subject is the fact that cell service in general, just out there today, without 20,000 people, is far better than we experienced out at the Kubiak's farm. If you go to the Kubiak's farm on a normal day, you're going to be lucky to make a cell phone call. So we're starting out at a better place than we were there. The other piece of information that I've found in researching all of this is FCC rules require the cell carriers to prioritize 911 calls. So even when at least according to the paperwork that I found from FCC, they actually, even if their services are overloaded, they are still required to push those calls through, whether it means bouncing it to another tower or even another carrier. The concern really isn't as much the folks that are at the concert itself, because they're basically surrounded by law enforcement and security and EMS folks. The bigger concern, and what we ran into at the Kubiak's property, was that cell service was so bad to begin with. We brought 20,000 people into the area. It was so bad that it was starting to impact the neighboring communities. They were having issues making cell calls. So I'm no expert, but I believe with the fact that we have pretty decent cell service to begin with, we should have a limited impact on those neighbors. As far as I know, I did talk to the guy at AT&T about, how do I know this? How do I know that service is good? He showed me an online service where I can determine coverage, but it's just not very user-friendly. But I'm happy to share that if anybody wants it. The other two outstanding issues, the surety bond, we got the quote today from the company that's providing that bond, and the quote was approved, so we should have that by the end of the week. And then our insurance should also be available by August 15th, which I believe is Friday. No, Saturday, isn't it? Anyway, the end of this week. I should be able to have that to you guys by 1st of next week.
Dust control on the roads was mentioned.
Yes.
Can you provide any detail on that?
Yeah, sure. As you mentioned, I've been working with Chloride Solutions. What we were focusing on was where the dirt roads, where the concrete ends, or asphalt. So that would be West Mar from Owasso to Burkhart, Allen from Owasso to Fleming, and Fleming from Allen to Grand River.
I take it those are your only egress and.
So those are the primary roads that we'll be utilizing that are not paved. We're bringing in, the majority of traffic will either come in from Burkhart or Owasso. We're anticipating some traffic from the north, which is why we're doing the Allen and up to Allen. There is a possibility if things do back up that we would push traffic from Burkhart up to Allen and around, just to gain a little space off of Grand River.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions?
Were we
No.
going to have the public speak?
We have the
or-
public speaking. Yep, I just want to see if there's anything you want to get out up front.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, we will open the public hearing to the public. Please step up to the microphone, state your name and address, and we're going to keep your comments, civil. I think that should go without saying, but sometimes it needs to be said. And try to keep your comments to about 2 to 3 minutes, please. And we'll go on whoever's got their hand up first is the first one up.
Janice Durr on Fleming Road, and I don't think that the cell service is gonna be that big of an issue, because Wi-Fi is available, and most people have Wi-Fi.
Good point.
I think Wi-Fi is another good thing.
Anyone else? Sure.
Yeah, Mark Fosdick, Cohata Township Supervisor. I got an issue with the roads, especially Fleming Road. You're ending at the Township Line Road. Cohata is north of Allen Road. And if you have any experience, and I know you do, from the standpoint of the traffic, it's gonna be miles around people are gonna be going everywhere. Unless you got barriers directing them certain ways, they're just gonna go a certain way, whatever way, you know, Google Maps or Waze or whatever tells them is the fastest way, that's the way they're gonna go. So I think there needs to be some protection for some of the roads in Cohata Township, especially Fleming up through Chase Lake. And I would imagine there'll be a lot of people taking Chase Lake because there's only one small stretch and then it's all paved the rest of the way. So I think that's one area that needs to be taken into consideration. Which way is the stage gonna face?
It faces north.
So the sound is gonna be going towards our residents there. In Conway, you could be 5 miles away and you can hear the beat, just boom, boom, boom. You know, so that's gonna be a big stage. Why can't that go south? Because you got the freeway there after another mile.
With us using Mar and Fleming for traffic, bring traffic in, it impacts that traffic flow if we move the stage to the other side of the field.
Okay, because that would be a big problem, so. The other thing was, the 911 service, it will go down. No matter what they say, it will go down. People will not be able to make, especially emergency calls. That was the experience in Conway, and they wanted them to address it, and they needed more cell towers, so that's up to you guys. And then the other thing, for the one person that's, you said doesn't have a conflict, I think if you look at your conflict, if you have financial interest in this, then you have a conflict of interest. And I would probably have had your attorney look at that before that. So I think there is, you can call it, he doesn't have a conflict, he bought a ticket before, but the matter is, he's making a decision now, and I think there is a conflict. Just my opinion, but.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else up? Please feel welcome. We're friendly, folks. Okay. Hearing no other volunteers. Commissioners, do we have any questions for our applicant?
Do we gonna close
Probably got a couple
the, are we gonna close the public hearing?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you.
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Support.
Support.
Many people, many supporters.
Motion from Robert. Who is the second? Mr. Stanley?
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we can move on to our, any questions we have for our applicant?
Who would like to start?
You're as good as any, Tim.
Okay, I have several. Just for the board, just to let you know, I've reached out and I've made contact with our road commission, with our sheriff's department, with our EMS people, and I know Conway has done this before, Mr. Freeman, and to your advantage, everyone says you're a professional organization to work with, so that's a positive. However, this is Howell Township. We have never done this in my time here, so if some of my questions seem routine, or I apologize ahead of time. So going back to your last two concerts you had in Conway, correct? And my understanding is, and correct me if I'm wrong, your first concert was kind of fresh and no one really knew how that was gonna go. And the cell service crashed horribly. And we had people that had problems, because you have e-tickets on your phone, correct?
Yes.
Okay, if you don't have cell service, how does that work?
It's recommended that they download them, but there are people that don't do that, and at that point, it's usually, we can check names against our
Okay.
our data.
So the second year, we learn. And then did you bring some cows? And cows are,
So,
maybe you probably have a better definition of what a cow is than
Yeah,
I do, but
certainly.
I know what it does.
so a cow is short for cell on wheels.
Okay,
So it's basically a tower that they can pull with a trailer, or it's on a trailer that they can pull onto anywhere.
okay.
So the second year we had, and we will have again, FirstNet, which is specific to public safety. So law enforcement, EMS, and those folks all have, the majority of them have FirstNet phone
Okay.
service. So that assisted them with having service. It did not obviously help the general public.
Was there anything brought in to help the general public?
We made that same attempt that we did this year, and we're not successful.
And if you could expand why, and you don't have to, but why you're here instead of Conway?
Well, a couple of reasons. There were also a number of other requirements that we weren't able to meet. For example, they required the sheriff's office, OEM, EMS, and 911 to approve the event in writing, and that's not really how those agencies work. They are involved and they are assisting with the event, but for them to put in writing that they have approved the event, then there's some weird liability there.
For sure,
So they were not comfortable making those.
But going back to the cell phone, so no cows were actually brought in for cell phone service
For the general public.
for Conway?
correct.
That didn't happen?
Correct.
So the second year was bad too?
Yes.
So now we're here, and you say we have, and I drove out, I've been out there twice. I know I'm Verizon, and I have 3 bars
Yeah.
sitting on Mar Road, which is not great, but it's okay. Is there any type of comparison from your location in Conway to our location that you can make that says you're not gonna have the same problems you had in Conway?
Well, so I think there's 2 problems. One is service for the folks that are attending the event.
Sure.
The other is service for the surrounding community.
And I'm concerned about all of them.
Absolutely.
But my obligation and this board's obligation is to the township residents.
Yes.
So, and that's where I want to focus because,
Yep. Yeah.
I think that's why we're here.
Well, the 2 things that I've, 3 things that I have, that I feel like are different from that situation. There are, the cell service to begin with is far better than it was at the Kubiak's property, So that's in our favor to begin with. There's a stronger cell service in that area. There are, from what I've looked at, there are not a ton of neighbors extremely close to the site. So there's far less impact, especially when the cell service is decent to begin with. And then, again, and I'm not, he may be perfectly right, the officer, or the gentleman from the other township. All I know is what I found from the FCC.
So going into that, because you brought up a good point, that they prioritize 911 calls. And I do know that some newer iPhones will, when you dial 911, when the cell tower shuts down, it will eventually route to a satellite if you have that service. However, how many people are going to have, I think it takes an iPhone 14 and above. So I don't know if we can really count on that.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that they prioritize 911 calls, and did that work in Conway? Because
I'm not personally aware of anyone outside of the concert area that attempted to make a 911 call and was not able to get through. Not to say it didn't happen. I'm not aware of any situation where somebody made a call and was not able to get through.
Okay. And at this point, you're not confident you're going to be able to get any cows?
No.
But we don't have any metric to say how much better our location is compared to Conway's?
Outside of personal experience, no.
Okay. The cleanup on the area streets, I know you have a big crew that's
Yeah.
scheduled. Do they come out and do they do like the routes, the egress routes that the traffic may have taken? Because I know some of the complaints were trash thrown out of cars and,
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
this is generally a heavy drinking event.
Yes, sir.
And that's another one of my concerns is the gates open at 2 and then, you know, I mean, well, parking opens at 2 and then,
Yep. Yes, the cleanup crew, you know,
do they go beyond the site, I
they
should
do.
say?
They will do those
Okay.
roads within reason. You know, they're
Okay.
not gonna go a mile
Sure, I
in every
understand.
direction, but, you know, obviously those roads directly contiguous to us.
And you're attempting to hire 110 private security guards?
Yep.
Because quite honestly, I mean, we're gonna strain county, both the sheriff's department and EMS. I mean, they're gonna be strained, because we also have Gilmore Girls going on in Brighton at that time,
Yes.
right? So we're
Yep.
talking about 2 major events for the county.
Yep.
So you're gonna have private security. What agency, I mean, is big enough to supply that many bodies to you? I'm just kinda curious. And do you have them contracted already?
I'll have to check. There's another gentleman, part of that security team that travels with us that manages those local security. The good news, he hasn't, at this point, hasn't raised any red flags, so I assume that it's taken care of because he's usually pretty good about that. But I can get you that name.
Okay. The number of gates, you have 1 main gate,
Yes, sir.
and I'm gonna refer to your experience, because you've done how many of these?
Well, farm tour shows, I've done a little over 40, but
A
I do
little
this
over
for a
40.
living, so I've done a lot of it.
So there's 1 main gate, and
Yes.
it's a large gate.
60 feet.
Is that normal to have that just one gate that's that size for your functions? And has there ever been a problem with that?
There has not been a problem with that.
Okay. Atwater, California? What happened
sir.
there? I'm asking you because you're here,
Yes.
right? So,
Yes, sir. And I was there.
yes. Okay,
I
well,
was-
that's even better. But I think it's fair for you to be able to say your
Absolutely.
piece.
So again, 14 years we've done these, and that was the only time that has ever happened. And in fact, that was our first show of 3 out there in California, and the next 2 we didn't have that. So it was unique to that area.
Could you elaborate on what?
I'm going to get into the details.
What
I just kind of
happened
wanted to give a little background.
Okay.
This was a odd, unique situation. My understanding is, so our line, boy, tough to kind of explain. Our line usually goes in an L. So if this is the main gate, we would go out 100 feet, and then we go 1 or 2 directions, depending on where the majority of people are coming from in the parking lots. That area inside that L is where our box office is, our will call, our ADA entrance, and our VIP entrance. So those, we try to keep those areas clear for those patrons, whether it be VIP or ADA folks. The line was fairly lengthy, which is normal for us to have a long line. And we do a thorough bag check, so it can be a slow process moving to the front gate. It moves, but we prefer to do a thorough check than to rush people in. There was a disturbance near the end of that line, and again, I was not at that point, but I was at the event. Because of that disturbance, a large group of people came into that empty space, that VIP ADA area. At that point, there was nowhere for them to go because they're up against our bike rack for our normal lines. So we, the only way to, and it got quite, there was a decent amount of pressure there simply because people thought they should be getting let in, and they weren't because we hadn't done any sort of security check on them. So we very quickly came up with a plan to slowly bring those people in that were in this outside of our normal line. So we would do their check, we would get them in the line for their ticket to be checked and allow them in. It was a slow process, just because it was outside of our norm.
So, I guess, obviously there was an issue.
Yes.
You know what it was. Has it been corrected? Or is it potentially to happen again? I guess that's my concern.
Right, yeah. So we did have, so that was Thursday night, Friday and Saturday, same setup, and we did not have an issue.
Okay.
We have, the one thing we did do was post one more security guard at the end of that line, just to make sure people knew that they needed to stay in the normal line and couldn't pass up that line.
So another question I had in your exhibit, I think it's exhibit 4. It's your chain of command structure.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious on how that was worded, because it seems that the Luke Bryant people would have ultimate control, is the way it was worded. Does that sound right?
So, yes, in that Luke's management, which is a bit of a rarity, they don't go to every one of his concerts, but they do travel with us on these farm tour shows. And with them being there, right there on site, we will come to them with recommendations, whether it's myself or law enforcement or EMS, whomever, whatever the situation is. For example, if we have a weather situation, we monitor the weather throughout the day, as well as several days prior. If there's a weather situation, then I will go to Luke's manager and get her up to speed on what's going on.
Sure.
And then between her, myself, our security team, potentially local Office of Emergency Management, sometimes we actually have a weather person on site with us. Everybody would be gathered to make that decision, but of course,
So it
Luke's
says
manager would
Luke Bryant management will make final decisions.
Yes, sir.
And it wouldn't be like the emergency management team that would be there? Like
They
if
would
there
be
were-
involved, absolutely. And I will say this, if it's something that is specifically, if we had an active shooter, that becomes a law enforcement situation, not a Luke Bryan management decision.
But it does say all decisions making in regards to major emergencies or inclement weather, including delaying the show or evacuating the site, will be made by Luke management. And I understand it's with coordination with the local authorities. But I would just like to see that they would have a little more authority because they would be a disinterested third party.
Yes.
Plus, I think they have more of the public safety
Yeah,
interest in charge.
yes, it probably needs clarifying. Anything that's a law enforcement issue of that level becomes a law enforcement.
Just, yeah, maybe it's a wording thing,
Yes,
or,
yeah.
or maybe it can be clarified somehow.
Yep.
In the event of severe weather, have you ever had any severe weather at these concerts? Does everyone go back to their cars?
Yes,
How
sir.
do you, is
Yeah,
that
we
the
have-
only options that are there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We do announcements from the stage. We do information on our video screens as well.
Okay. And you're only gonna have 3 parking or entrance and exits, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that generally enough for that type of crowd?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then only 1 main gate coming in, and we've already spoke about that.
Yes.
You're working on the security guards, the chain of command. One last question. From your eyes, as a promoter, what benefit of the town is it to the township to have this event?
I think there's a handful. There is, we pay local taxes on our ticket sales, so there's an income, and that's kind of different everywhere we go as far as that, is that state, or is it, county, or where does that money actually go? you know, there's some, the intangibles, you know, there's some
Sure, I mean, it's.
bragging rights.
It's a bragging rights,
Yes.
but we have to
Absolutely.
go beyond the shiny
Of
object
course.
and look at practicality here,
Absolutely,
because,
yes.
because this is a big lift for the resources of the
Sure,
township
yeah,
and the county,
yeah.
right? And the residents that live here.
Absolutely.
And
Um,
I'm just at, you know, is there charitable donations made to something local? Is there any, I'm not, and I'm only asking, I'm
yeah.
only,
So Luke does do a scholarship to a local student who's going into farming. It's not, you know, I mean, it's not millions of dollars, but there is that scholarship. You know, all of the local officials that are on site, whether it be, you know, law enforcement, EMS, all those folks, we pay for their services. Nobody's doing that in kind.
Okay.
So there is some money going on there. You know, ideally, people are going to be stopping to have dinner or to get gas or, you know, to put some money
Sure.
in. We haven't done a study, but those are off the top of my head.
those are all the one questions I had for you at the moment. But
Okay.
thank you, and
Thank you.
I'm sorry for taking up so much time.
Covered a lot of bases, I mean, well done.
I do have some more, but I will wait, because they're not for you.
He's sweating, Tim.
Huh?
He's sweating. Stop.
I do have one, sir, and it is one. You mentioned the bag check at the entrance for security, and that's absolutely commendable. Metal detectors.
So we do wanding. It's a handheld wand versus a mag.
Okay.
I have one question. One. First of all, I just want to commend you because every question that I had, while going through your packet, I found the answers, and I appreciate that, especially the lighting. I've been to a couple events where there was no lighting, or there was lighting with no, you know, signs to let you know where you parked, so I appreciated that. My question is, so if this starts at 2 o'clock, does the drinking start at 2 o'clock when people come in, or what do we? I'm not,
Right, no, I
just
understand.
wondering.
We don't promote them drinking at 2 o'clock. We don't open our bars because they're inside the concert area.
Okay.
If people bring alcohol with them, then yes, they are going to.
Okay, so that was one of my questions. So when you're bag checking people, they're allowed to bring their own
So
alcohol?
we are checking their bags when they're coming into the concert area.
Okay.
We don't check where it's
If they're on the
nearly
park-
impossible to check. their
Parking, if they're out in the
cars.
cars.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, that was, okay, so, and then on number 3, under the alcohol monitoring, you have that, if a person is intoxicated before entering the premises,
Mm-hmm.
if they are, you let them in regardless. Is that, I just thought that was a funny line. Have you had people coming in, trying to get into the concert that are obviously intoxicated, and they
Yes,
just- you
ma'am,
let-
and
okay.
we ask them to, if they would, you know, go back to their car or
Okay.
to work that out.
Drink a
and
little coffee?
and
Okay.
hopefully get to a point where they could come in.
Okay, no, then like I said, everything that, good packet.
Thank you.
Sir?
I don't know if I have as many as Tim, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Couple of things. Explain the 20 public phones and 2 phones for first responders. Are those phone stations, or what are we referring to on that?
No, that is in the ordinance. So what I asked is that for a variance on that ordinance, because I don't know how to provide 20 landlines in a field.
Okay.
My, you know, again, granted, cell service is not going to be perfect, but, you know, the majority of people these days do have a phone, and if there are emergencies, then public safety folks are going to be able to utilize that FirstNet. So if somebody, just as an example, if somebody had an emergency and needed to make a call and their phones didn't work, then someone from public safety would be able to help them with a call.
That kind of leads me to my second question. Your signage inside the event, is it, can you describe it to be able to point people to the field hospital or anything that when somebody is in there and they're surrounded by 19,999 other people, will they be able to find what they need to find for safety?
So, a couple things. One, we placed our, not the field hospital, but a first aid tent right at the front gate. And there's a sign, we basically set it up so people can see that first aid tent from inside or outside the venue. So if they're standing in line, they will see that first aid tent. We do a sign across the top of it. It says first aid. And then again, another sign when they're inside the venue. There's a sign over that tent that says first aid. We also position law enforcement at the front gate as a presence, just to let people know as they're coming in that there are, there is law enforcement at the event and they're walking into a safe environment. So we don't necessarily do signage that says the first aid's back there. We work under the premise that they're going to see it when they come in because everybody comes through that front gate. The other thing we have that assists with that is we actually have roaming teams, not only law enforcement, but also EMS. So they are moving through the field at all times. And so if somebody has an issue, they would be able to flag down one of those folks.
Okay. And the certificate of insurance, Howell Township is going to be named as a certificate
Yes,
holder.
sir.
We will have that, okay.
Yes.
I think only two more. You noticed that chloriding the roads. Typically, the township pays for that, so I don't know if that can be arranged so that we're doing those roads around that time. But usually the road commission grades before the roads, and I would highly recommend that this isn't done a day or two in advance, because if we're gonna have 20,000 people come into our township, the first day or two, depending on the weather, after you chloride a road, it is horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the cost of it getting done, but, we live on a dirt road, and when they chloride, you just drive real slow, because that stuff, and I don't want people coming in here and saying, oh, Howell Township, and going home and they got chloride all over the roads or their cars. So I would coordinate that, make sure you coordinate that.
It's scheduled to take place, and this was coming from Chloride Solutions. They felt that the ideal time frame was 3 weeks prior to the event.
Okay, that is good, and that is a good company. The family that you're working with is a very good local family too. And then a local plug. I notice you have sanitation needs with Porta Johns and waste as well. I see you're kind of bringing in outside companies.
So we have an outside company that travels with us.
Okay.
That has done it for years, that oversees it. He will bring in the portable toilet world version of what's going on, he will bring a lot of our toilet trailers. So we utilize 2 of those backstage and 2 for our VIP area. So he brings those, but a lot of times, I'm trying to remember this situation, I'm sorry, because he's nearby, his business. He might bring his, but he always works with a local company because normally the local company has the license for pumping the portable toilets. So
Okay.
he will work with a local vendor.
I just want to make you aware, we have some really good,
Yeah.
Porta John companies and waste companies
Yep.
here. And if you want to contribute to the economy around here,
Absolutely.
that's good.
Yeah,
So, but that's good.
We rent, so he will hire a local company, at least for the pumping, potentially to also bring some of the portable toilets.
Okay,
And
that's good.
then we hire a local company to provide our dumpsters.
Okay, I like that. Thank you.
If I may, while I have you,
Yeah.
we're talking about chloriding. Are you opposed to maybe going beyond what you've already stated you would do if there was a concern?
No, not at all. Yeah, in
Like
fact, I was
going further up Fleming?
talk to
or
him
anything?
afterward
Okay.
about the roads.
Thank you.
Yes, and the officers that he was recommending.
Thank you.
Quick question on parking.
Yeah.
Is there a time frame everyone's got to be out of the lot after the show, or? 'cause
Generally speaking, they all want to go home.
So you might get some people that want to party all night out there type thing?
No,
or-
we get them moving, because
Get 'em moving,
if they're
okay.
sitting in their lot, they're gonna mess up the lines for everybody else. So we don't have a lot of that. We do, on a pretty regular basis, have, a handful of folks that are not able to drive home, so they will leave their cars until the following morning. But generally speaking, it clears out.
It clears out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question, was how long does it take that parking lot to empty out? Like,
There's a number of factors.
people trickle in, but they're all gonna charge
Absolutely, they
out.
all want to go home at 11 o'clock, yes. The ironic good news is that as Luke's fan base grows up, they don't all necessarily want to stay till the last encore. So we will actually have a decent amount of traffic leaving in the 10 o'clock hour. Oh, and then, obviously, it's not massive, but it's a percentage that will start flowing out earlier. The way we set up our egress is we have 3 gates for the ingress. We will shut down one of those for the egress, so that, just as an example, the exit on the left, everybody leaving there would be forced left. Everybody coming to the exit on the right would be forced right. That keeps that traffic from intermingling and slowing down. There's a few other factors. One is where we've placed the officers because they're going to hit stop signs or 4-way stops or whatever. When we have officers there to just flag them through, then it keeps moving. And the other is, in this case, once they get to Grand River, they're obviously going to hit some normal traffic there. So again, we have officers at those intersections that are going to help keep that traffic moving. We have had some not great situations with getting all the vehicles out, but that was many years ago. In the current situation, it's 2 hours max to be completely clear. And we're talking about approximately 7,000 cars.
Nice thing is you're in close proximity to the freeway.
Absolutely.
You're
Yes.
within
Yeah.
a few miles from the freeway, so.
Yeah, once we get them, we did have some traffic issues at the Kubiaks as well.
Yeah,
And it was,
yeah.
it was dirt road for a long way, and it was 2-lane for a long way.
Right.
My concern, if I were attending this show, is the parking in a field, that I presume you don't steamroll the field and pack it.
Correct.
If it rains, it's a mud field, and cars are gonna get stuck.
So
Do you have accommodations
yes.
and plans for that?
So a couple things. Number one, if we see that rain is coming, then we have in the past just not had the show canceled or postponed. We can't have 7,000 cars buried in a field. For the 1 or 2 that might get bogged down, if it's, if they hit a muddy spot or whatever, we have a tow service that's on site all day. So they're there to deal, if somebody locks their keys in their car, if their battery dies, anything like that, we have a tow
Wayne,
service.
I think, Rick, did you have something you wanted to say? or-
Ryan, actually, Rick's son.
Yeah, Ryan,
We did pack the field and we planted wheat there, so it'll look like a yard.
okay,
It's gonna be grass.
okay.
And I expect any questions we're throwing at you, you've run into.
Well,
At least one time.
I hope so, but you never know. This is an interesting business sometimes. You learn something new every year, like the situation in Atwood.
Okay, I think that wraps up my questions. Tim, do you have another list?
Not for Mr. Freeman. I think it would be more to our zoning administrator. Are you handling or do we have a held harmless agreement of any sort, or I can't pronounce the word.
Indemnity.
Litigation?
That's the one, yeah.
So the ordinance calls for the insurance and for the bond. The that's all that it calls.
I saw some language in there, some talk about something's been forwarded to the township attorneys.
Right, so that was the bond. They wanted an example, and so we got an example and got it to Dennis.
I'm curious on the liability to the township. Is that covered with the insurance? Is there a dollar amount that we're dealing with, or is there an agreement that the township is held harmless?
The insurance does have limits. I'd have to look at what the number is. Otherwise, liability, I'm unsure.
If that's something that's needed, we have done that in the past, so we would be fine to
That would be
do
a
that if
concern of
necessary.
mine because.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're happy to do that.
I thought it might have been with the dollar amount with the insurance company or something, but no, we don't have anything like that.
The policy that's in there that I had as a sample, that shows the limits.
That was just I understood it was from some.
Yes,
place
but it'll
else,
be the same limits.
It'll
So
be the same limits?
Yes, sir.
Has that been reviewed? Do we know if that's sufficient?
I believe under the ordinance it is.
Is this the ordinance number 6? I don't. But we have one.
Say that again?
We have one.
We have one,
An ordinance that specifies how much it should be.
I believe it does, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, ordinance, it is ordinance number 6.
No, that was it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, Commissioners, I think it is time for us to entertain a motion on temporary land and special land use.
Mr. Chair.
Sure.
I am going to recuse myself from this vote so that there's a question from the public. We have just so that
We still have
there is
plenty of
no
attendees for a
question.
quorum. That's solid. Thank you for your participation.
Mr. Chair, can I make a comment to the commissioners, though? The one thing that I do appreciate is that Conway is in Livingston County, so our sheriffs are familiar with this event. I appreciated seeing the fact that that Livingston County has been, that the sheriffs have been involved, and that gave me a lot of peace about this event, and the fact that this isn't their first time for having to deal with this 20,000 type of situation, so.
No, and I think it is a better location with regard to freeway access and through the house.
Close to 59, close to 96, so,
Yep.
yeah.
And we also got to keep in mind, at this point, it's a recommendation to the board. The board
Yeah.
is obviously going to have because it sounds like you're still working on some things to put them together.
Yeah, the Surety Bond and then insurance.
Sure.
Did anybody up here have any concerns on additional exterior safety signage that was brought up?
I did not.
I didn't.
I did not.
No, no, I did not.
And Jonathan, or would it make any sense, since this is date specific, if it was canceled, to include some verbiage in our motion to approve a rain date or a different date? Is that important? If we approve it for September 20th and we've got a tornado or whatever, would we have to start from scratch again?
I believe so, if you make that motion, because it would be date specific.
So I don't know if, Grayson, is there any could we say, or alternative rain date? We're approving the same thing.
Yeah, you guys definitely can add that into your motion.
Okay.
Would that, but that our approval is somewhat predicated on the sheriff's department, the emergency management, and EMS.
Of course, yeah.
So, so I don't know if we change the date, if their circumstances would be the same.
You change, okay.
I don't know how we would, you know,
I don't know.
maybe we
I'm
could
just
word it in
helping
there
everybody
specially.
else. I was just thinking that about.
I understand what you're,
Yeah.
and I like the idea, I just don't know how we can include it with
Okay.
the other agencies that are involved.
Could we say something like depending on? Because otherwise they would have to.
Contingent upon.
They shouldn't have to come back
Contingent
again
upon,
when
yeah.
we're approving.
But obviously, the logistics would be handled by Mr. Freeman and your group, you know, with getting an alternate date approved by the sheriff's department, the EMS, your doctors, this, you know.
And we have had that situation.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if we have no other questions or input across, can we have a motion to recommend or not recommend the temporary land use and special land use for this event?
Right.
So on several conditions, I would support recommending it to the township board. This is my personal, my opinion. And that would be some type of metric for the cell phone comparison to ensure adequate phone coverage. Maybe that takes some time before you come to the township board and that'll be looked at that point. But I think we need to be cognizant of not cutting off cell phone service for our residents for 6 to 8 hours.
Can I comment on that?
Sure.
So,
Mr. Chair, is it okay? If he comments? Thank you.
Wait, okay, sir.
yeah, so like Mrs. Dare said, right, the fiber is pretty new in that whole our area.
That was a very good point she made.
So all of our phones, like I have an iPhone, if I have Wi-Fi, I can make a call over the existing fiber. I don't think it's as big of a problem to the neighboring residents, because that service isn't gonna be.
It's not just the residents, but it's also the attendees too.
Right, no, just the
So,
residents, just the
yeah.
residents. Because that line is for them,
Sure.
and that's not being tapped into.
The indemnification agreement that I can't pronounce, and obviously the proper insurance coverage, which is still in the works, and the additional chloriding as agreed upon. I mean,
So
I
to be
don't-
clear, Tim, so are you saying that you,
I would recommend it conditioned, or
I mean, the cell phone thing though is, I mean, does that not satisfy you as far as Wi-Fi? Because that is kind of a, like, I use Wi-Fi in my phone.
he hasn't exhausted all of his possibilities yet, and my question is if it's not significantly better than Conway. I know we have more bars there,
Mhm.
but when you put, I mean, we lose cell phone service out here just on the freeway. You can go to Mason Burkhart and lose a cell signal. We put 20,000 people out here, and it's just gonna overwhelm the system. I mean, is it gonna be perfect? No, I understand that. But it's the same issue that Conway had, and we just don't have anything, in my eyes, we don't have anything to compare it to. Other than, we have better service, but we don't know how much.
Am I able to comment again?
Of course.
As far as the concern about the patrons, in my experience, We've never had a situation where an emergency need wasn't taken care of within minutes. Generally speaking, the people at the concert are not calling 911 because there's EMS, fire, and law enforcement and other security folks within visual. They're going to see those people. So at the concert itself, I have not experienced a situation where 911 was utilized. But I will, to your point, I will continue to push this Verizon option and also see if I can come up with some way to do some measurements.
So I don't know where the towers are out there. I didn't see any just in that general area, but I don't know how far they reach out. I mean, so this 20,000 people, how far out will it kill cell phone
Right.
service,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Is it a mile? Is it 2 miles?
Yep.
We're not just talking the people that are there on Mar and
Yep.
Fleming.
No, I
right?
understand. I was just kind of
So,
focusing on that.
right, I mean,
the
and
patrons.
will it reach all the way to the freeway? I don't know.
Right.
And I would like to know, I would like to have a better idea.
Yes.
And that's kind of what I'm gearing my.
Yeah. No, I was just wanted to talk more about the patron issue.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
But
And-
I will
and
continue to work
and
on
to
that.
the 4 doctors you have on scene and the medical thing is top notch, right, as far as that type of thing is concerned. Did anyone else have any concerns, or is it just me?
I'm good with.
Are we all for it?
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know, the township board has to approve this ultimately.
Yes.
And you guys do have a special meeting, correct?
Yes.
Could we put something in there to address the cell phone coverage that you guys are okay with it at that point? It would give applicants some time, and then you guys are given the final okay if you're satisfied with the cell coverage.
That's basically the contingent upon,
Okay.
right?
But I'm gonna go back again, how he's already kind of exhausted his, they've talked about Wi-Fi, which that's what I use in my house for my, I guess the thing is, I don't wanna hamper this when I think that there's another way for this to be handled with residents. I mean, I don't know, I think it leaves them in a kind of precarious position, because I don't know what more he can do. He's been trying, but that's just
Sure.
my opinion, I mean, I just,
Well, ours is a recommendation. Obviously,
Right,
it's the township
right,
board that's gonna make
right,
the final
right,
decision on it.
right,
If it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's gonna be what it is.
mhm,
So,
okay.
I guess that decision won't be there, but I think it's only fair to address to Mr. Freeman that that's obviously a concern.
Mhm.
And anything he can do to help alleviate
No,
that
agreed,
concern
agreed.
is better.
Sure.
Okay.
So, and that'll be dealt with at the board level, so. So I would make a motion to approve the temporary land use for the Luke Bryant Farm Tour on September 20th, 2025, located at parcel ID 4706-07-400-005, subject to the following conditions. In lieu of the public phone, the applicant shall demonstrate adequate cell phone coverage for attendees and staff to meet the intent of ordinance number 6. To include possibly, if possible, a metric for cell phone comparison between this and the last location. Also, the completion of a held harmless agreement with the township and adequate insurance coverage to be determined by the township authorities. And additional chloride of the roads as necessary.
So, if I cannot prove that I have adequate cell service for the patrons, we would not receive a permit, is that correct?
That it's a decision to be made by the township board, which they're gonna make the decision. It doesn't matter if we're recommending it to go forward. They could determine that what you've presented is adequate.
Did you also want to include their application, the conditions, that number 2 on there?
That all the activities shall occur in accordance with the approved site plan and event scheduled submitted with the application dated July 10th, 2025. To be included in the motion.
Okay, so amended.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Bowl, a second from Mr. Francescos.
Do we want to put any, do we want to put any rain date contingency in there, or just do it to this date?
How do you want to word that as a friendly amendment? I'm more than happy to put it in there.
I was going to say after September 20th, 25, or otherwise determined rain date, as long as light conditions are satisfactory and all light conditions are satisfactory and the services are to be provided as indicated in the application. Is that?
I'm good with that.
Okay. Good.
Did you get that, Mike?
Jonathan's writing over there.
Okay. So I will I'll amend Commissioner Bull's motion with that.
Okay,
I'll support that.
Okay.
very good. We have an amended motion, support from Mr. Francescos. We have a roll call vote?
More discussion.
I have one for discussion. What does direction for Jonathan on what mechanism for holding the township harmless? Is that, you mentioned that in your motion.
So there is an M,
Indemnification clause.
that letter,
Yeah.
and a held harmless letter that is available. You're familiar with it, Mr. Freeman?
We have one that we've written up for other venues.
Yes.
Okay. As long as you're,
The struggle is that the ordinance doesn't call for it. So I'm not saying that you brought it up, he's willing to provide it, he provides it, that's great. I don't know that you can hang something on that just because the ordinance doesn't call for it. So that's my only concern.
Okay.
But you brought it up, he's willing, if he brings it, submits it to us, we take it to the board and they accept it, great.
Okay.
But, yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and agree, I'll support this because I want them to be able to move forward, but the cell phone thing, I'm just having a problem with.
Okay.
But
Can I say something? My name's Robert Fortson, I live on Fleming Road. Ladies and gentlemen here are making a decision for one day. One stinking day. I've been here 86 years, well, almost 86 years, kicking up a lot of dust. This decision should be really heartbreaking with a lot of the boo-boos we've had in our town that we live with every day. So it shouldn't be that hard. You know what I'm saying? You got one day in a lifetime. Shouldn't be that hard. Like I say, I live right there. And it's not gonna bother me. One day in my life isn't gonna make any difference.
That's good to hear, sir.
You know,
That's encouraging.
I live with your roundabouts that you stupid people put in. You know what I'm saying?
do we have a roundabout? I don't think
We
we
don't
have
have
a
a roundabout.
roundabout.
I don't think we have one.
We don't have that.
We don't have a roundabout in our township.
Well, we spend money on stuff like that, it costs us more to take them out than to put them. So, I'm sorry. That's just that's the way I look at things.
I just want to make sure I have it right. Motion by Bowl with a friendly amendment by Spalding, and then you were saying that Francesco supported it?
I did.
And we are putting thought into this, sir, because there's 10,000 people in this township that aren't here,
Yeah,
and we want to vet this out as best we can. but we appreciate it.
Okay, as we have an abstention, should we do a roll call vote? So,
Lolio,
Yes.
Bowl,
Yes.
Newstead is abstention. Williams,
yes?
Spalding,
Yes.
Stanley,
Yes.
Francescos,
Yes.
passes.
Motion is passed.
It's up to the township board.
That's one hurdle. Finally, we do have a call to the public. Should anybody wish to?
We have one more action.
Who?
Yes. We have to act on the special land use motion,
I thought that was one and the same. I'm sorry.
right?
Right, because that was the temporary.
That was a
land use.
temporary land use motion.
No,
Okay. So we need a motion for, and I already shuffled my papers. For the special land use to recommend approval to the township board.
Mr. Chairman, can I make that motion?
Absolutely,
I would
sir.
like to move to recommend approval to the township board of the special land use for the Luke Bryan Farm Tour on September 20th or otherwise designated rain date on parcel ID 4706-07-400-005, finding that the proposed use meets the special land use standards of the township zoning ordinance, subject to the conditions listed in the temporary land use approval dated August 12th, 2025, and the planner's report dated August 6th, 2025.
Support.
We have a motion from Mr. Spalding. We'll give the second to Sharon.
Sharon.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We do have a call to the public to wrap up our meeting. Should anybody have any comments or input they wish to share?
Sure.
Sir?
You can have a solar flare and none of the phones work anyway. And it's 20 phones for the public, 2 for emergency services, I'm sure they can provide that. So, I don't see the cell phone issue to be as great as it is. I live on Burkhart Road. My phone works all the time, maybe you've got the wrong service. But I don't think it's a big issue, because we can have things happening in our atmosphere, it's not really cell phone.
I think it'll be a learning experience for, well, especially for the promoter. Do we actually have adequate cell phone coverage? If it's better than the prior location, then let's make it a regular. Okay, with no other input, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
Instead, support from Francescos, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
How best?